I don't know what was the problem. Anyway, so let's proceed. Can we share our slides on this meet?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Uh, Wait. Like I'm personally not that much big fan of Microsoft Teams. Zoom is much better, but let me check. Cool. Let me know if you guys can see the screen. I'm not sure whether it's visible or not.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, cool. Uh, yeah, cool. Let it be like this. Cool. As you have already got my introduction, sorry for the delay. My name is Akshay Sharma. I am a fifth year student at Maths and Computing IIT BHU. So, as a part of boot camp series in student counseling services, so right now we are going to have a very quick workshop on app development. So, actually, I wanted this call to be much interactive, but I'm not sure. So, I guess those who have joined the call, you all must be knowing the feature of raising your hand, right? So, I actually wanted this conversation to be a bit more interactive because I have prepared a lot of questions. If it is the case, if you know how to raise a hand, please do so in your Microsoft Teams app so that I can know whether there will be an audience interaction or not, or else I'll just continue with the slides. Cool. So, yeah, that's a good number of hands. Okay, so we can continue. Okay, so let's directly jump in. By the way, like I'll be sharing the resources and the links in for all of the slides. So feel free to ask if you have any doubts, like while the video call is going. Okay. So first of all, what is a mobile application? So I'm sure I don't need to give an introduction to this thing, right? All of you must Android or iOS phones, and most of the phones right now they have an architecture where you have applications or apps that you download from a store, and they provide you with a set of features. Your apps can be games, your app can be utilities, your app can be communication bots, chat bots, search engines, a lot of things, right? So kindly let me know how many of the participants are, how many of the participants have any coding experience? Any coding experience means any experience in Python or C++ or Java. Cool. So that's a that's a good number. So okay. So then I'll go into a little bit advanced part two for the call, right? Cool. Before jumping into the actual development, I would want you to know, like why should we even think about app development? कि like हमें app development क्यों करनी चाहिए at all? So the slides might not be that much visible because like the images are not that much scaled, but I'll explain everything clearly, right? So over the course of years, I guess back in 2008 when Google acquired Android, Android smartphone sales, Android app revenue, and the number of apps on the Google and Apple Play Store combined, they have almost crossed 100x. That means, uh, like, like back in January 2010, one of our seniors used to tell this. There were only, I guess, uh, five, I think 5,600 apps on the Play Store. Right now, the number is in billions. So you can assume, right? The scale is growing really fast. You must be knowing almost everyone has a phone right now, and on an average, there was a research study by Google that on an average, people have 40 to 50 apps on their mobile phones, right? So apps have a lot of usage. Apps can help you generate a lot of revenue, and specifically uh, in the app market, actually Android dominates over everything, right? So Android has been dominating iOS and all other media channels since, like, I guess 2012, because of its ubiquity, because of the documentation, and since almost all of the code is open source by Google, so it's pretty easy to start with the app. And I'll try to give you a brief glimpse, if not a demo, of how to begin, like with a simple Hello World app right now. Cool. Uh, and just to let you know that although there are a lot of Android apps on Google Play Store, but in terms of revenue, Apple apps in fact make almost as much as twice the amount of profit. It's because of the way App Store and Google Play Store are organized, right? Everything on an iOS phone is bought. There are very few free items, free apps, while in the case of Google Play Store, almost everything is free, right? Cool. So I'm not sure if I should be discussing this, but let's do it. So, how many of you have used like a Symbian phone? A Symbian phone is like a Nokia 555, a Nokia 110. So these were like keypad phones back in like 2012, or I'm not sure when you began your coaching or something like that. Cool. I guess that's Nokia 310. So I have a reply. So that's cool. So I guess so. I don't need to explain anything. So right now, the whole mobile phone market is dominated by Android and iOS. But back in the day, when there was this time of Nokia, right? So there was this operating system called Symbian, and in fact, by the end of 2090, 2009, almost 90% of the global market, mobile phones market, was occupied by Symbian operating system, predominantly by two companies, Nokia and uh, uh, BlackBerry. I'm not sure if you know both of them, but it doesn't matter. Both of the companies are bankrupt right now. So, uh, but almost in a span of 1.5 years, like पूरी market बदल गई, and what should I say? There was a major shift in how people started adopting Android phones. So, like, I would just want to ask you, like, why would that happen? So, consider this scenario, right? So, I'm sure almost all of you are using laptops right now or mobile phones, like to access this call. Suppose there's a new technology that pushes the laptop market or even the mobile phone market uh, like to a ground level zero. That means by the end of let's say 2021, there are no more laptops available, right? So the new technology, which is the replacement, must be really good at something. Like I just want some guesses, like any guess, like what was in Android which Symbian couldn't provide, or what was the move by Google that actually like kicked out Nokia and BlackBerry out of the system. Anything, wild guesses. Like I am open to everything. Please feel free to comment in the chat. Okay, so ease of use, that's correct. Better GUI, of course, surely. Better GUI has a really great importance in terms of Android. Like Symbian phones were almost like close to bullshit. Yeah, touch screen, actually. That's a really good answer by Karan Sagar. Touch screen is, I would say, one of the cornerstones of Android phones. Yeah, so ability to install apps, that's good. Security, in fact, security is also important. Advanced features, ease of usage, cool. So there's a great number of reasons. Right. So yeah, cool. So as you guys know, uh, Android was easy to use. Android was secure. There were app stores. It had a really rich UI look. The apps looked good. So there were a lot of reasons people would shift from Symbian to Android. And in fact, everyone shifted, right? So I'm not sure whether this slide is visible, clearly visible or not, but so basically, so the parent Symbian market actually broke into these sub markets: Android phones, Android apps, iPhone apps, wearable apps. So right now we have these smart watches, smart devices, Fitbits, bands, health monitors, BPM monitors, right? These also actually, in fact, fall into the category of a smart device, a smart which have an app. We have AR kit. I'm not sure whether anybody like in this group has ever used an AR kit. Like they are not of. You might have used VR glasses, virtual reality glasses, but there are not a lot of AR glasses available in India. In fact, there is only one vendor, and that's two in Bangalore. So but anyway, you understand, right? Something happened, and the boring Symbian market actually broke into this diverse, feature-rich market, and which provided all of the reasons that you gave in the chat, right? So and now I want to make a distinction. So like I'm sure. So like almost there are almost 100 people in the chat. Almost all of you must be like, or I can say half of you must be interested in getting a job after your college ends, right? So you must be prepared to build a website, and similar to a website, some of you might be interested in building an app, right? So what's the difference? The only difference between an app that runs on your phone and a website that runs on a browser is the build, right? Native apps or apps that we use are actually built for a specific operating system. These can be downloaded, and these are used on handheld devices which have a lot of sensors. Unlike apps, websites don't have this feature. They are all plain. They run on HTML, JavaScript, and they rarely use that many number of features. They rarely use cameras, gravity sensors, accelerometers, location sensors, near field control, Bluetooth, and a lot of different other features, right? So, as you guys mentioned, so you have some background in Python. So I will cover the hybrid app part at the end of the call if we have the time. So for right now, we'll focus on native apps only. Cool. So as I said, so this is just to know. So considering the two markets, Android and iOS markets, so how do you develop these apps? So let's say you want to begin developing an app right now. To develop an Android app, you might need an Android Studio. You must be knowing some level of Java. and you must have either a simulator on your Android phone, either an Android phone or a simulator on your laptop. Similarly, to build an iOS app, you need this IDE called Xcode, which is available in Mac Store. You will code in Objective C, specifically in Swift, which is something similar to C++. And again, you will need either a device or a simulator on your phone, right? Cool. So before discussing anything more about Android apps, I would like to give you a very quick example of what it's like to develop an Android app, right? So first of all, code. So as you mentioned, you all have some experience in one of the languages. I think this piece of code won't be like like it must be making sense to at least some of you. So uh, like uh, like give me any like can somebody explain what's happening in this piece of code? As you mentioned, so some of you have Java experience, right? So cool. Yeah, correct. Right. So there's nothing much in this code. So this is a simple code written in a language called Java, right? And as all of you have rightly said, so it is printing a simple line string called hello podcamp, right? Now I would like to mention, this code might not make much sense to uh, those of you which do not have a background in Java, or it might not make much sense to those of you who do not have any coding experience at all. But like later, I will share a method wherein you can develop an app without even writing a single line of code. But so I actually wanted to mention uh, this image because this is actually the first piece of like code that I ever wrote in Java. So as you can see, so as you have said, so we are just creating a class, hello world, and the class has a main method, and the method is printing a line or a string, right? And so as you can see, this is doing nothing. This is just printing a sentence. But what will happen right now over the course of the next slides, like I will explain how the same syntax can be used to generate an app, let's say like Microsoft Teams. So as you can see in your app right now, so you have the chat box, you have the video screen, you have the participants icon. Your app is connected through internet, and there are a lot of other features, right? So how we progress from this simple method architecture, like I think I should begin that right now. Cool. So okay, I'm not sure if this is clearly visible, but so this is what an Android Studio looks like. I'm not sure whether any of you have any experience in Android, whether any of you has used Android Studio, but do not worry. So by the end of the slides, I have included the download links for all of the software that's required. And since this uh, call is like online, so I won't develop any app right now live, but this is I think you should be knowing this is how an editor looks like. And I'm pretty sure after your college ends, uh, almost most of you must be using an editor similar to this for developing your software solutions. So it might not be an Android app, it might be a website, it might be a backend code, but this is how an editor looks like. So uh, cool. Yeah, so as I said, so I actually wanted to uh, make the workshop easy for those who have almost zero experience in coding. So I thought App Inventor is a really good thing, right? So just like a quick raise of hands, anyone if has used App Inventor or knows what is App Inventor? I don't expect a lot of people to know about it, but it would be super cool. Okay, so we have two, three hands. Okay, no issue, no issue. Yeah. So let's just move on. So App Inventor is actually App Inventor actually was a really cool tool or software developed by Google back in 2013, right? And the idea is uh, since Google recognized that people need apps and there are a lot of developers, so why not just create an app that creates app, right? This might be confusing to some of you, but the idea is you can create an Android app without even writing a single line of code. And that is how App Inventor works. So this App Inventor actually is a piece of software that runs on your browser. So it can run on Chrome and Safari. And you can design blocks, and these blocks can help you create an app, right? So this is pretty cool. Like I don't want to explain much about Android or Java coding in itself, because like over the course of my joining college, like back in 2016, we used to write code in Java, and we used to work on Android Studio, right? But as I've interned at few companies such as Adobe and Goldman Sachs, so I've realized the world has changed a lot. So you don't need to learn that much tough languages. You don't need a really big code editor to run or create an app. Creating an app can be very simple job using a tool such as App Inventor, right? So there's no programming required. It is very fast. There is limited ability. You cannot use a lot of features of your phone, but if you just want to create an app, a Hello World app, and if you just want to show to your friends and your family that you have created a first app, this is a really good tool. And I recommend that everyone after the call should try to develop a simple app using App Inventor, right? And in fact, after the success of this App Inventor thing, MIT actually acquired this software and developed a new version of this, right? And so this is how the App Inventor looks like. So as you can see, the idea is pretty simple. So you have a screen. This screen represents your Android phone or a simulator, right? You just pick and drop elements. So uh, like you want, suppose you want to create a login page, right? And elements of a login page can include an image, then your name, then maybe email address, password, these fields, right? So you just pick the elements and drop it onto the screen, and then this way you design the app, right? And this is how you write the code for the app. So the idea is pretty simple. So App Inventor actually allows you to write code in form of these blocks, right? So I guess even if there are first yearites in this call, so you must be introduced to that course in programming. I think Introduction to C. I'm not sure. So you must have heard about loops, for loops, while loop, and conditional statements, if else statements, switch statements, right? So the thing is, App Inventor actually provides you these statements. All you need to do is just pull the statements and drop it onto the screen, and then you can define the logic how the apps will work, right? So for instance, we saw the Java example right here. So there's a lot of background. behind this thing, which I'm not discussing. But to do the same in App Inventor, you just need to drag and drop and do these things, right? So suppose there is a button and you can write a block of code, and when you click the button, something should happen, right? What should happen? You should set the text of something such as hello world, as simple as that. Like, there's nothing new in this part required. And as you can see, this is fairly simple. And as I said, right now, everything is like the slides that actually you see, they are working in my browser. So it's super cool and it's super easy. Similarly, suppose if you want suppose if you want to change the text that you want to display, so that's easy too. So it's simply drag and drop, and it's super easy to design, right? But before creating your app, as as one of you actually mentioned in the chat, that a prime reason why Android took the Nokia and BlackBerry market was the design, the GUI, right? Why it is so? So, like, suppose you have an app that looks crap, you won't use it, no matter what your app does. Even if your app provides you with a lot of money, even if the app gets you like a degree, if your app is not usable, if your app is not looking good, people won't download the app at all. So that's why actually there is an important concept called material design. Now, this is important for some of you because not everybody does uh, a coding job after they graduate from college, right? A lot of people actually go into front end development, and front end development is basically designing how a website looks or an app looks, and this is a real important part. Just to be sure, when I worked in Adobe, there were in a team of 100, let's say 80 developers actually were front end developers. That's a great amount. With the advent of AI ML, things might change. It might be the case that computers might start designing websites or beautiful websites, but I'm sure that those days are way long ago. So at least for the next 10 years, there will be a great demand of front-end developers, and that's why material design holds such an important part. So as you can see, these are just three simple apps that I took from Google. I'm sure you must have used one of these apps at max. Any guesses what these apps are? So this is pretty simple, I think. Cool. Yeah, Gmail and calendar. Cool. Cool. Correct. Right. So in 2007, actually, Google created this material design guidelines, right? And what the owners wanted, that your app should look good. In fact, people hire some engineers, not designers. Let me repeat, people hire engineers to redesign their apps so that they look good. It is really important. It doesn't matter whether you go into a corporate job or you join a startup. Creating like beautiful elements or creating a beautiful app or a website is a very important task, and you might be paid handsomely to do that. So just again a quick query. So consider the apps that you have identified. So the third one is Gmail, and the first two ones are actually calendar, right? So what elements do you see, or what elements do you see in this app, in these two apps, that would make you use or not use the app? for instance, consider the components. So in the calendar app, so you have this profile icon. Yeah, correct. So as we already have in the chat, so the content is organized, the content is beautiful. Yeah, the soft colors are used. That is very important. Uh, okay, the illustrations are good. There is white spacing. Yeah, right. Perfect. Okay, so and actually, I'm not sure whether any one of you saw this or not. What's the language that is used in both of these apps? English, right? So suppose no, this is I think we can drop that part, but keep this thing in mind that uh, consistently having a language in your app is also a very important task. Right now, a lot of apps such as Facebook or Google are like what should I say, adopting these internationalization policies. So depending upon your location, your app UI changes. So, for instance, if you are in India, this English text might change into Hindi, right? And when you are, let's say, in Dubai, so this text, of course, will change into Pashto and Urdu, but even the format will change. So English, Hindi, most of the languages are read from left to right, right? But these languages are read right to left. Urdu, Spanish, Cantonese, even Cantonese is read top to bottom, right? So this is an important part because when you create an app in English, it does not mean that your app will work in a lot of environments. And this is fairly important because even if we have a trillion population in India, not everyone can understand English. In fact, most of the users are use the apps in regional languages. So this is an important part. So as you said, so you have mentioned some components. So actually, Google pointed out these six-level components for designing an app. I've just created these in order. So your colors of the app are very important. The icon size, the icon format are very important. Margins, paddings are very important. Animations are very important. So these are really important components that you must keep in mind. Like these are the best practices that are used for designing an app, right? Uh, but so okay, so this is a fairly advanced part of the call. So if you feel that uh, like the call gets really tough right now, you may skip this part. But I think because uh, since the times are changing so fast, you must know about what is Flutter, what is React Native, what are these technologies. And these are very essential when you join an internship later in your later years, right? So as I mentioned in the uh, first few slides, so let me just show. So I gave a distinction about what is a website and what is an app. But yeah, here. So I gave a distinction about what's a website and what's an app. But I didn't talk about hybrid apps. In fact, most of the apps that you right now use, including the Teams app that you are using right now, is a hybrid app. So, like, I would want someone, if someone can share like their ideas, what is an hybrid app? As you can see from the meme, so there is an app that runs both on Android and iOS. In fact, it runs on every platform, on Android, iOS, and web, right? So this is a very important task, and it has several benefits. So suppose uh, I give you, yeah, exactly, cross-platform apps. So suppose there is an app that runs on every platform. So you just create the app once and it is deployed on every platform. What are the potential benefits of the app? And again, please feel free to message in the chat. Okay, cool. So yeah, correct. So there's portability. Portability is a really important thing. It saves a time. That's a really important part. It saves a lot of time. In fact, in practice, uh, suppose it takes 1 month to develop an Android app, and you are in charge of a company, you would need 3 engineers to develop 3 different apps on 3 different platforms. While using hybrid apps, you just need one. More customers, more users. Yeah, correct, perfect. Greater usability. That's correct. Less burden for developers. Yes, of course. The low budget and less time. Perfect. Yeah, ease of use. Yeah. So, as you have already realized, so there is a great need to develop hybrid apps, and actually that's why I asked whether some of you have the experience in Python or Java, because now it will get a little bit tough. So, yeah, reachability to more people. The reasons are really good. Yeah. So what is a hybrid app? Actually, a hybrid app is nothing but a simple website that runs on every platform. In essence, a hybrid app is a simple HTML or a JavaScript website, and it is packaged to work uh, on a mobile phone, right? So let me just show you a quick demo. Just wait for a second. I'll again resume sharing the screen. Well, I think it's visible right now, right? I actually want to give you a quick demo, right? So as you see, so you might be seeing this website right now on your screen. So like as I said, so this is a very simple website. It does nothing much. It has a very simple UI, runs on your Chrome browser, and has the normal elements, buttons, text, everything, right? Now, a lot of you must not know this thing, but actually you can access the source code of this website. Click and then go into this option called view page source. And of course, do not worry if you are not able to understand this fact, but I have included the links and the links of YouTube videos that might be useful for you to get a deeper understanding into that. But like keep this in mind. So consider, suppose I search anything on Google, right? So wow, Ashish, superb. So as you can see, this is the source code of uh, site of any Google query. Completely utter bullshit. So this is all in HTML and JavaScript. But consider this website, which I showed you earlier, right? Now, the source code of the website is here. I'm not sure whether it's visible on the screen. Yeah, cool. So it's visible now. So as you can see, I guess 43 lines max, right? That's all. That's all the code required to develop this website. While to develop this Google page, you need like you need a really big source code, right? So what I wanted to show you that actually Google still runs on HTML and JavaScript because Google search is so much premium tool. There are a lot of users. They cannot afford to change their tech stack overnight because else they'll face really big problems on their usage. But this website actually, which I showed you earlier, uses a hybrid app. So this is a hybrid app. This app runs on simple HTML and JavaScript, and the novelty of this app is, this website is, this website can be compiled into an Android or iOS app, and that's a superb thing. But and in fact, let me show you. So all of this mode, let us choose Google Pixel. Cool. So yeah, is the screen visible right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Bhaiya, it is visible.
Cool, cool. So as you can see right now, so now the app works on phone, right? So this is running in my browser. So this is a simple console, and this is nothing new. It will be very clear to you if you just follow the links which I'll mention at the last of the call, right? And the catch is you can use the same app on a phone, and that runs on your browser, right? So as you mentioned, so this is super cool thing. If you just write a piece of code once and it works on Google Chrome as well as your phone, then it is superb because like then there are no boundaries at all. Now it doesn't matter like uh, so even with a small change in the app, your code sorry, even with a small change in the code, your app will be updated across all different platforms, right? So that's actually the most important benefit of hybrid apps. Now an important thing. So how do you develop the hybrid app? Okay, so I have a question. Yeah, that's correct. Actually, Android, oh sorry, Amazon also works using the concept of this hybrid app, right? And in fact, you can check it on the if you have the Amazon app, you can try refreshing the app while the internet is down, and in fact, you would see that the app is nothing but a simple website that runs on uh, an app on an Android phone, right? So that's not very cool, but anyway. So yeah, lastly, uh, so how do you build an hybrid app? So in comparison to Android or iOS coding, so you don't need any IDE at all. You just need Notepad or a text editor. You need a web browser with an internet connection, and you need to know two languages only, HTML and JavaScript, right? And these are very simple languages. These are as simple as Python. You don't need to develop you don't need to learn very hard coding such as Java and C++. And as you have already mentioned, there are a lot of benefits of developing these apps. The reason I actually wanted to mention the hybrid app part is because uh, I feel a lot of juniors in our college are actually focusing on very core application development, while the company requirements are changing rapidly, and it might not make a sense right now. I'm sure at least half of you will remember that Akshay Bhaiya had a call back in January 2021 where he mentioned that hybrid apps are the future of app development. And I'm sure using during any interview for an internship or a company placement, if you have a decent experience in hybrid app development, you have a really good chance of getting accepted in the company, right? And lastly, so I'll begin with a simple question and answering session. So, but just before going into that, so like we had a long talk, about 40 minutes of the talk, but how to begin, right? So, uh, like I would share how we begin. So our seniors are actually mentioned this a really cool way. So back in the day, Udacity was this great platform. So there are two courses on Udacity. These are massive online courses. One is a basic one and one is the advanced one, right? And I would recommend that if you want to have some experience in app development, please go through the first basic course. It's really important, and it's just fundamentals. So you won't be required to do a lot of hard stuff. In fact, it will be much fun. You will set up an emulator on your phone, oh sorry, on your laptop. So it will be really cool to have a phone inside your laptop, and it takes, I guess, 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So like even if you begin this month, you can easily learn how to develop an app by the start of February, right? And then again, so I always personally prefer YouTube videos because first of all, they are really simple, and second, I like watching videos. So that's much easy. So there are a lot of uh, playlists on YouTube available, gold mine of information. So this New Boston is a really good channel, and this provides a really good tutorial on how to develop Android apps from scratch. If you want to use the MIT App Inventor thing, if you want to develop an app without writing in a single line of code, then you might find this playlist of MIT App Inventor really useful. And lastly, those who want to do hybrid app development, as I mentioned, so there are two popular languages, Flutter and React Native. I did not mention anything about them because they are really advanced. So you would need to learn a lot of things before writing into Flutter and React Native. But as I said, if you are interested, I have included the links in the references, right? So yeah, so that's all from my side. Uh, I guess coordinators, like, do we have a time for question and answer session?
Yes,
Yes, sir, we have time.
Cool, super. Yeah. So feel free to shoot any questions. So I'm open up.
okay.
Hello,
So
Bhaiya.
those who have questions, uh, if the chat box is visible to them, then they can put it first in the chat box, and then they can speak on the mic. So yes, you can go on.
Hello, Bhaiya. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, if you want to make an app to generate a revenue, like for starter purpose, so which language is best to learn?
See, would suggest that you stick to Android because, as you mentioned, so you have joined a startup, right? So
Yeah.
you would want to develop the app really fast. Startups have a really short span. They want the app to be ready in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
depending upon your background, so if you have a fairly simple usage, I would recommend you use like something like Android. Android would be super easy. You just need to know a little bit of Java, and that's all. And
Okay. Okay, but I have one more question. Like PUBG has a huge storage, but if we are going to start an app, so अगर उसका MB ज़्यादा होगा तो लोग बाग उसे बहुत prefer नहीं करते हैं डाउनलोड करने को. तो क्या चीजें
Yeah,
हैं
that's
जो
true.
कि क्या चीजें हैं जिसका ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा जो कि ज्यादा स्टोरेज लेती हैं आपके ऐप डेवलपमेंट में, तो आप बताएंगे.
So yeah, so actually you mentioned a really good point, and I guess someone in the chat actually included this reason, like back in the chat. Okay, so no issue. So I'm sure all of you must have played PUBG, right? So now there are very big components in PUBG, specifically videos, audios, and images, right? These three components take the most space. So in fact, I guess the latest PUBG download size is around like 1100 MBs, and out of that, 900 MBs is solely devoted to videos, audios, and images, right? Now, like अगर आप एक स्टार्टअप के लिए ऐप डेवलप करना चाहते हैं, so I would recommend go through this like Audacity advanced course. So there is a specific video which I remember in which the guy actually mentions using video compression and audio compression, image compression tools. So your resources take a lot of time. Code is very small, code is very simple. Even if you write like tens of lakhs of lines of code, it will take hardly like 100 KB, right? But even a small, let's say, HD video of 2 minutes might take a space of 200 MBs. So I recommend going through this course and reduce your asset size, video size, image size, and audio size, and that will reduce the app size overall.
ओके भैया, थैंक्स. अगर भैया जो मैं नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पूछने वाली हूँ अगर उसका आंसर शॉर्ट हो तो ठीक है. तो मुझे ये पूछना था कि कैसे हम अलग अलग स्किल्स को लाइक ML और VR और AR को एक सिंपल ऐप में अटैच कर सकते हैं.
तो लाइक एंड्रॉइड एप्स डेवलप करने में या ऐप कोई भी ऐप डेवलप करने में यू यूज समथिंग कॉल्ड API. So an API is let's say what should I say? So uh, it's a pipeline. So using the pipe, so there are different APIs, there are different apps to use ML, to use computer vision, to use natural language processing in an Android app. And these pipelines are available on like Google Play Store. Now, understanding these pipelines is tough. First, because you need to understand machine learning.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then you also need to know how to develop an app, right? So
Yeah,
it's tough thing. But again, as I mentioned, stick to one thing. Like first learn machine learning, learn it completely, develop some models so that you know what's accuracy and what are the basic lingo. Then learn a little bit of Android, right?
okay.
And
Okay.
I'm sure in the reference list you can find like in the second YouTube reference list, there is a specific video of how to use Google TensorFlow. So TensorFlow is a popular machine learning framework that can be used in Android really easily.
Okay.
Just begin with something, and then it will be really easy later.
Okay, bhai. Thank you so much. You cleared a huge doubt for me.
You tell what concepts we are required to learn, for example, Java, in order to start Android development.
So Java is a tough thing because unlike Python, it's not so easy. It is very hard typed. So like I can share this course with. So there's a course on Coursera for Java, and I think to learn Java you just need an IDE and you need, I guess, 3 weeks of time because it's really hard typed. But even if you begin with the first course, the Audacity course on Android, it will be really simple because those guys, they do not develop a lot about Java. They tell only those features which will be used in developing your Android apps, right? So Java is a really big tree and you need to use only 2 branches. And those guys actually mention only those 2 branches. So I will mention the Coursera course also. Plus, of course, you will get the slides, so you can follow any of them, and it will be really easy. At max, 3 weeks at max. Yeah. So here's the link. So I have pasted the link in the chat. Okay. So does that answer your question?
Yes, Bhaiya, yes.
Cool. Cool. So we are on time. So are there any other questions? Or wait, so there is something in the chat. Okay, HTML5 and yeah. So to develop hybrid apps, you would require to learn HTML. मतलब HTML तो आने ही चाहिए under any situation because it's very essential and it's very easy, simple markup language. So that's, in fact, it's not a language at all. It's just like a syntax thing, right? And you need to learn JavaScript. And as I mentioned, the last 2 links in the playlist, those include resources for learning HTML and JavaScript. Plus, learning HTML and JavaScript is a fairly simple thing. It will take at max 3 days, while learning Java will take like around 3 weeks. And also, Java and JavaScript are not same, so don't get confused in that. Will working on Mac make any difference? Almost no difference. If you are developing an like hybrid app, there is zero difference. You cannot develop an Android app on Mac, but you can develop using Flutter or React Native, or you can develop simple iOS apps. But languages should be learned for the basics. So as I mentioned, you should learn HTML and JavaScript. वो ऐप डेवलपमेंट में भी काम आएगा, वो वेब डेवलपमेंट में भी काम आएगा. So that's like the basic food of any programming job. So HTML and JavaScript are must. If you feel that you have an interest in app development, learn Java, right? Yeah, sure. Okay, so sorry, I actually forgot to share the slides.
Bhaiya, I will do it after the session.
Okay, cool. No issue.
We are almost on time. If you have any other questions left, then you can go on. I mean, 5 to 10 minutes will not be much.
Yeah. So, does anybody has any other questions? Else we can drop the call. Is Java a good language for development in GSOC? So, हाँ मतलब Java का फायदा तो बहुत है. So a lot of companies actually still use Java. In fact, most of the big companies still have backend in Java. So that's really important. And if you know Java, you know a lot of things such as backend development, Android development, and server-side development. So yeah, Java is a great advantage, but it's not necessary. You can do the same thing using HTML and JavaScript. Cool. Any other questions? Please feel free to shoot, else we can close the call.
Okay, I don't think so there is any. So let me conclude it for today. Like it was really a great session. We thank you on the. I thank you on the behalf of SCS, Akshay Bhaiya, for taking such a wonderful session. I will share one experience of mine. Like in January and Feb, I used to sit in library in the same row as you used to sit na. So I have been watching you since then, and now today to have you over here, it is really a good feeling. So I hope you all listened to him, and we will share the slides again on the WhatsApp groups as well, and try to check the courses, because online semester you do not have much to do, right?
Yeah.
So do not miss the opportunity. And it was great that you all were very patientful. You listened very well. So this is it. I think we can officially finish. And to the freshers who are having their midsems, all the best. And we will continue the next workshops maybe after your midsems. Like this will be our first priority. So this is it. Bye, Bhaiya. Thank you again.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.